Hey guys, this is Vol. I'm going to start off on my Equinox coverage. Equinox was a tournament that I attended last weekend featuring Fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer 40,000 and Flames of War. And for this event I've taken my Empire army, and I'll just talk about what's in the army and why I've taken these selections here. The rules for the tournament are that there'll be no army composition segment, so you won't get marked for what troop choices you took. But there are some restrictions stopping you from taking, the hardest list that the, normal Warhammer rules allow. For example, you can't take a Lord level wizard and a Lord level. You can't take two Lord level wizards, for example. You can't take two rare choices, for example. There are some restrictions on the amount of power dice you can generate and so on. So with this in mind, I've taken a steam tank, 2 cannons and a mortar. That was the maximum war machines I could get away with. Got 20 crossbows, 50 halberdiers, 30 flagellants, 11 knights and a priest leading them, 5 pistoliers, a wizard lord, a BSB on foot, and a warrior priest on foot. Now, I think you guys will probably be asking where the War Altar is, because, in a powerful Empire list, if you want to make it as hard as you can, you want to have a War Altar and a level 4 wizard and a steam tank. Now, the rules didn't let you take both the Arc Lector and the wizard because it classed the Arc Lector as being a Lord level caster as opposed to a Lord level combat fighter. That was just a decision made about the tournament. And although one other player did take an altar and a tank, I decided to take the Wizard Lord and the tank because the combination of Law of Life and the tank is just really, really good in my opinion. Every time you cast a spell, you can heal the wound off the tank, and that allows you to use the tank as a gun, really, because if you misfire, you can bring the wound back. You're not going to cripple yourself. And as we'll see throughout the tournament, this is actually going to be quite a good strategy. So that's my army. Going to the next photo, you can see a close-up of Volkmar, who is the unit filler statue, which I think is really cool, but he's out of focus for this one, but you can see the rest of the army pretty well, so that's kind of cool. I had to borrow models for this list. I had to borrow some flagellants and crossbows and a tank and a mortar to make it work, and some halberdier models as well, but it was worth it, and I'll be giving those models back, so you won't see this army again from me, most likely. Next image, I'm going to take you through some of the other armies present, just to have a whip through. This is Russell's High Elf army. He's been a number of tournaments before, and he's got a Star Dragon for this one. Not really my personal preference for a High Elf build. Star Dragon really not as good as taking an Archmage, but that's what he's gone for. Next image, this is Tony's Demons list. I've played Tony once or twice before, and he's got his Great Unclean One on the hill there, which is really just a blob. If I played Tony in the tournament, which I ended up not doing, I would have had to insist to him that we counted the Great Unclean One as being 3 or 4 inches higher for the purposes of line of sight, because this allows him to hide from my cannons pretty easily, because he hasn't taken the standard size model. So a bit dodge, but it doesn't really matter if your opponent isn't shooting at him. Next image, this is Dan Butler's Demons army, and was really impressed by this guy. He's not actually been in the tournament scene for a couple of years, and he did very well at the tournament too, so just a guy with a great painted army showing up and kicking everybody's asses. Was really great to see. He's painted his demons so well, and what a hard army. 2 blocks of blood letters. He's got a Keeper of Secrets, plenty of Fiends, Flamers, Furies, guy on a disc. If we go to the next image, you can see a beautiful photo of his Keeper of Secrets, which I think is just looking great. And I hope this guy keeps showing up at tournaments, because it's great to see his army, and apparently he's a great player with it too. Next image, this is Jeremy's Vampire Count's army. He's got 2 big blocks of ghouls, massive block of Black Knights, a coach, some wraiths, and a little unit of skeletons. And this is a Helm of Command style army, where the Vampire Lord sits back, raises everybody, and uses the Weapon Skill 7 hat. No Graveguard though. Speaking of which, next photo, this is Basil's army, and this is the first time I've met Basil. He's a Christchurch player, and he's actually come up to Auckland for it. Apparently the National New Zealand Wargaming Tournament is going to be in Christchurch, and as you guys know, there's been a lot of earthquakes down there, but the area of the town where they're actually planning on having the event has been unaffected by the quake, And although I won't be going down, I can't really make it because of work commitments. It'll be great to play these guys. And Basil doing very well with his vampire counts. This is a strong army. 2 big units of Graveguard, what you want. 2 big units of Ghouls, another thing that you want. And it's got a black coach and just some characters. So I think just strong stuff. I mean, you can't really go wrong with a list like this when you're playing VCs. He's got a combat vampire lord too, which is what I'd take as well. Next image, this is Paul Clark's Warriors of Chaos army, and Paul has really nailed it, I think, this event. He's got a really tough army together. I won't go through too much detail as to what's in it, but I played one practice game with him before the event, and it was really a jammy game where all the dice just went haywire. I did win it, but it wasn't a good example of how the matchup would work because, nothing went as expected. But I won't get into much detail about that either. Next image, here's a really wonderful looking Wood Elf army, and what he's done here is he's actually painted them quite nicely. He's done some conversions in the background, which I haven't really got a good photo of, where he's used a combination of Glade Riders and Dryads to represent treekin, and obviously his tree man is a big tree from the Warhammer Tree Terrain kit. It's nice to see some Wood Elves at a tournament though. Next image, this is Daryl's Dwarves. He's actually dropped his anvil this time, and he's taken a Dwarf Lord on shields. So I'm going to zoom into the next photo, and you can see his image, which is actually a classic White Dwarf model with the 2 guys, Gotrek, or is it? I can't remember, Gotrek and Felix. Yeah, Gotrek, and the other guy is, I think, Bugman. Can't quite remember, but it's awesome to see him using the Dwarf Lord instead of the anvil. I know that he's going to have a harder time this tournament without the anvil, but the previous tournament he played, he told me that the anvil blew up like 3 or 4 times, twice, on the first turn, so that's got to really frustrate you. Next image, this is Derek's Lizardman army. This is the only other army apart from Paul that I played a practice game against. With my 3 cannons, I was easily able to take him down because he's got 2 Stegs and a Carnosaur, so cannons made short work of that one, but hopefully Derek goes alright against some better matchups. He's got the tools, I think, in this army to pump out the pain, but without the slan, it's always a tough time. Next image, this is Chris with his vampire counts. I play Chris often quite at the gaming club, and it's good to see him at a tournament. I think he's gone for the strong combat lore, but I'm not too sure what else is in his army apart from Ghouls, Graveguard, Black Knights. Next image, Paul Davison is actually trying out the Vermin Lord this tournament with his Skaven. Ended up not playing him, but I don't know how well he went with the Vermin Lord. It's a cool model and it's a cool concept, and I'm glad that somebody's trying it out, but I think for this tournament you're really shooting yourself in the foot for not taking a Gracia and spending the points on just War Machines or something. Next image, this is Sam with his Bretonians. Bretonians, not too bad in 8th. If you've got big bus units like Sam does, an all-mounted army, I think you can charge in, you can negate Steadfast a lot of the time, and you can win combats. Not too sure how good they are in the magic department, but yeah, I've yet to play a lot of practice games against Bretonians in 8th. Next image, this is Noel with his Star Dragon. Again, it's just not really that keen on the Star Dragon build, eh? It's you prevent yourself from having a level 4 wizard. And the dragon itself is quite difficult to get its points back, and there are a lot of situations where you could potentially lose the dragon, so it's quite tough to succeed with this sort of build nowadays, I think. Next image, another South Island Vampire Counts army. This is a pretty good one, I think. Lots of Graveguard, big unit of Ghouls. That's a huge number of Ghouls, I think 50. And Skeletons as well, and I think that's really all you need with Vampire Counts. He's got some dogs as well. It's good to have some sort of marching, sort of redirecting troops, and the coach, of course, always good. Next image, this is Mel Patel with his Lizardman, and I want you guys from around the world to pay close attention to this list because it's actually he's actually going to be in the New Zealand team for Equinox, not Equinox, for the ETC in Germany, and he's got a really interesting army which has been written up by our compatriot Dave Grant from the UK, who used to be a New Zealand player but now he's back in the UK, and he's going to be the team of the New Zealand ETC team. And Dave has put together a list where it's got a Slan with Lore of Beasts and 4 combat characters on Cold Ones, and essentially they'll either accompany the Cold One unit or the big Saurus bunker, and if he casts Savage Beast of Horos off on the guys, well, he gets like 1 billion attacks at strength 8 or strength 10, which is just really stupid. It's insane. Next image, this is Thomas's army, one Steg, Slan with Law of Light, which I think is quite a good choice for Lisbon because it compensates for their weakness, which is low initiative. So that's actually quite a good tactical law to take. Both Thomas and Mel both took the State of Higher Consciousness on their Slan as well. Next image, this is Graham Fry with his High Elves. He's got a big unit of Phoenix Guard. Excellent choice. I think 20 Phoenix Guard is just, spot on for 8th edition High Elves. He's painted his army up great as usual. And next photo shows you his character on an eagle, which I think is quite cool. It's always good to see Graham's army up close because he's a great painter. Next image, Tim Norling with his Warriors of Chaos. Good strong Warriors of Chaos list. I love the visual theme of this with the orange and yellow colours and the sort of seaweed type effect on his space. Just zooming in on his war shrine here, it's got a lot of conversions and banners on the back of it. And next photo after that, his Chosen, which aren't painted in too much of a detailed way, but they're actually nicely layered and look good from a distance especially. And up close, not too bad either, but very fearsome unit nonetheless. And just going to take you through some of my favourite 40k armies. As you guys know, I've been playing a little bit of 40k, not really to do any battle reports yet, but here's Tristan's Demonettes army. I actually did play against this guy and narrowly beat him, which was cool. But I love his display board with the Slaanesh logo and his Forge World Keeper Secrets, all sorts of conversions everywhere. Just love this army. Hasn't been highlighted yet, but it's going to look great when it does. Next image, we've got a Sisters of Battle army, which is actually pretty cool. I like the white. Next image, a Khorne Demons army, and I love this army because it's got the skull bases, probably from Micro Studio or wherever they've come from, but they look excellent. This is Mark Buttle with his Tyranids. He came second at the 40k event, and quite a good Tyranids player. He's been going around for quite some time. 2 Trigons, by the looks, plenty of Tyranid Warriors, and some Gargoyles at the back there, some Gene Stealers, pretty good stuff. Next image, this is Anthony with his Space Marines, and he actually took out Best Painted Army of the tournament. I didn't quite feel his army was the best painted. I liked another army better, but it does look good. It's just the colours are a bit dark. I think with some highlighting, they could pop out and stand out a bit more. I played a practice game against this guy as well, and he's been the only person to beat me in 40k over the last 6 games that I've played. It was a very narrow victory. I play Chaos Space Marines, if you guys don't already know, and my Demon Prince rolled a psychic test for warp time, wounding himself and then charging into combat with 1 wound left because he'd taken some damage, and some scouts killed him before he could strike, or something stupid. Or no, maybe it was a strike back, I can't remember, but it really sucked that he... Anyway, not going to go down that track. Good looking army, and he's got a Tech Marine too at the back. That's how he's getting the 6 Dreadnoughts in there. It's a Master of the Forge. Next image, there was a table set up for some demo games for Malifaux, spelled something like Malifaux or UEX something. Great looking game. It's quite intimate with a small number of models, maybe a little bit similar to War Machine, but you use cards instead of dice for resolving combats, which is quite cool. And this next army, back to Warhammer again, is an Empire army, which looks great. Again, not too much brightness. I think a big tip first, painting an army, is to use bright, bold colours which stand out. This guy's gone for a fairly grim-looking army, black and gold and red, which it does look nice, and especially when you go up close, he's done a wonderful job on it. So, man, it just can't really give you a gauge on how much time he must have spent doing this, but it's really been effective. And quite a strong army too. He's got a big unit of great swords, big unit of halberdiers. He's got the tank and the war altar, 3 war machines. I feel like 2 cannons is better than a cannon and a Hellstorm rocket battery, but who knows. And going to the next photo, this is the centerpiece of his army, the war altar. He's done some conversions here, really cool looking stuff. And yeah, didn't get to play him, but looks like he did pretty well. And really good looking army, well put together, good theme. Next image, Glenn Tibbles, best Warhammer army in the tournament, I think. Really looks good. I voted him best painted in FluffyCon and he won. Did the same in Equinox and he also won. Going to the next photo, this is the only thing that I haven't really taken photos of so far, which is this Doomball and Gorball BSB, which are looking great, of course, and pretty tough guys in close combat. Next photo, this is Rob Sadler with his demons. I've seen him a few times before. And next photo, quite a cool looking Wood Elf army with the Treeman. Nice dusky colours, hasn't quite finished painting yet. Going to the next photo, really good pose in his Eagle Rider there. I love the spear. And next photo after that, you can see the scratch built or home built Treeman with, I guess, tree parts from it. So that's looking quite cool as well. Next photo after that, Phil's Empire Army, which I played a few times before. You guys probably would have seen them in reports possibly, but again, strong army, probably not ideal with the troops choices he's got and the small unit of knights, but still quite strong. Reed's Dark Elf Army, which has gone through classic editions. If I just go to the next photo, which has his Pegasus rider, which is quite cool, and can't tell you what edition that's from. Next photo, this is Dave Stent's Goblin Army, and he had lots of fanatics, lots of big blocks of goblins, but just goblins. And if I zoom to the next photo, you can see his trolls, which are probably the hardest unit in his army, to be honest. Looking good on paper. I think the real problem with this army, though, is animosity and panic. So you've got to be careful about those things. And next photo, Anthony's Dogs of War. I felt maybe Dogs of War a little bit overestimated by Anthony here. I think he went quite well in his practice games, but the tough competition at this tournament really meant that he couldn't succeed with these guys. And yeah, 2 units of pike, pretty good. Level 4 with the shadows, can't blame him for taking that sort of stuff. It's just lacks the wallop the other armies have. Simon Kwok with his Warriors of Chaos, of course, and of course doing quite well with these guys. Quite a hard list: 6 trolls, Hell Cannon.